Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Tanya Batra. I'm RCI Registered Special Educator, and this is my YouTube channel, Tanya Batra Learning Support Educator. I request you all to subscribe to my channel and also hit the bell icon for all the notifications. So let's start. In case of any doubts or queries, definitely you can put it in the chat box or in the comment section below. Let's begin. For today's session, we are going to focus on early signs of specific learning disability. Before talking about early signs of specific learning disability, let's talk about what is specific learning disability. According to RPWD Act 2016, specific learning disability means a heterogeneous group of conditions wherein there is a deficit in processing language, spoken or written, that may manifest itself as a difficulty to comprehend, speak, read, write, spell, or to do mathematical calculations, and also includes such conditions as perceptual disabilities, dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia, and developmental aphasia. So this is a definition given by RPWD Act, that is Rights of Person with Disability Act. Now it says that SLD is a heterogeneous group of conditions, which means there are several characteristics. There is not one characteristic you will observe, there will be many characteristics you will see, and all those characteristics are different. Okay. And it also, there are several types of specific learning disability, not only one type, there are several types. Okay. So there is difficulty in language that can be spoken or written. There is difficulty in processing the instructions. There is difficulty in understanding what the person has read, what the person is speaking. The child with this specific learning disability might not be able to understand the instruction. There is difficulty in spelling, written expression, expressing the thoughts, conveying the thoughts when the person is writing it down, or also difficulty in performing mathematical calculation. And in this definition, you can also see there are certain types mentioned already, that is dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia, and developmental aphasia. Learning disabilities, then here it is basically talking about the general characteristics which you will see, which you will observe in children with specific learning disabilities. Okay, disorder which may affect acquisition, how the person is acquiring that information, retaining that information, how the person is organizing the information on the paper. That will be not in order, that will not be in sequence. Okay? Retention will be poor, understanding will be poor, or use of verbal and non-verbal information. So, SLD also affects verbal or non-verbal communication or understanding the non-verbal cues, gestures, any kind of information. Impairments in one or more processes such as perceiving, thinking, remembering, or learning. Then some of the other characteristics are mentioned below, that the child with SLD will be having difficulties in all of these areas. SLD may interfere in oral language, listening, speaking, understanding, memorizing, recalling, reading, like decoding the information if the person had heard some text. Now, how to decode it in my own language, how to interpret it in my own language. SLD has difficulty in that. The person having SLD will be facing difficulty in the phonetic knowledge, lack of phonemic awareness, lack of phonics. The person might not be aware what's the sound of that letter. Okay, how to blend the different sounds. Then difficulty in recognizing the word, difficulty in comprehension, difficulty in spelling, how to spell the word. There might be omission, of some letters in the spelling. There might be addition or there might be substitution. There might be the child might distort the spelling when writing. Okay, difficulty in computation, solving the problem, difficulty in organizing the own things, my bag, my study table, my timetable, my timing. So difficulty in organizing all of these things. Then social skills, how to interact with my friend, how to communicate my feelings to the teacher, how to communicate my needs to my parents. So difficulty in interacting, how to greet the relatives, how to greet the family members or the other members coming at my home. Okay. Difficulty requesting, difficulty in asking for help, conveying that I am facing difficulty in this area, the person will not be able to do that. Now, according to today's section, we are going to focus on early warning signs of learning disability. As the name itself says, early. So we don't have to forget the early stages. That is very important. That is 0 to 6 years is very important. NEP 2020 also focuses on early years of the child and maximum experiences, learning experiences need to be given in this early stages. And the milestones, the developmental milestones, the growth, the learning phases need not to be avoided, need not to be ignored. Teachers, parents must pay attention to these early years of their child because it is crucial. It is going to build up the later stages. It is going to act as a stone. You can say the foundational stone in in the later stages of the child. So these early stages are very important. Now, when we are talking about early stages, you might observe some of the other difficulty areas, and we can suspect that the child is having learning difficulties. For that, it is very necessary, it is important that we are providing early intervention so that the diagnosis need is not there. The severity of those learning difficulties not be should not reach to that severity level. The learning difficulties should not reach to a severe level that it results in learning disabilities or it results in diagnosis of learning disabilities. That's why we always recommend parents to observe the early signs, early warning signs, and definitely in those early years, okay, so that we can provide early intervention to the child and the signs, the characteristics can reduce and the child performance could improve. Okay. Early warning signs in preschool. We will be talking in different school stages. The early warning signs. In the later school stages, definitely those signs never gets early. Okay? It is delayed. Now the signs are being ignored because of which the severity increases. Okay. So early warning signs I mentioned here to cater to the early stages. Fine, such as preschool stage, kindergarten stage, grade 1, elementary stage. In these cases, we can say that we can observe the early warning signs. But if the child is in grade 8 or 9th, and till that time, we are not able to detect the learning disability, the warning sign, then it will be too late. Definitely, intervention can be given, but yes, the results achieved will be too late and it will take time. The child will be in lots of trouble. It will be difficult for the child to cope up with those scenarios, with those difficulty areas, and intervention will take time to prove, to show some results. Okay. Now, early warning signs in preschool children, late talking compared to other children. Very important when we are talking about preschool, kindergarten, elementary stages. It is very important to observe the developmental milestone. If the child is talking late as compared to other children, definitely give it an attention. Okay. Pronunciation problems, slow vocabulary growth. The child might not be able to pronounce in one word phrase, in two word phrases, often unable to find the right word, difficulty in rhyming words, trouble learning numbers, alphabets, sounds. Difficulty in math, you will see the child is extremely restless, gets distracted with different sounds, with different stimulus around, with different things around him, trouble interacting with peers, poor ability to follow the directions. Like if you're giving some instructions, if you're giving two or three instructions all together, the child might face difficulty in following it. Difficulty in learning basic skills like colors, shapes, numbers, letters, sounds. Problems with motor skills that can be fine motor, like buttoning, putting beads in a thread, tearing, pasting the paper, or making balls out of the clay or with the paper. So all of these can come under difficulty in fine motor skills. Okay. Some other preschool signs and symptoms which you can observe: problems in pronouncing the words, even a three-letter word, even a short sight word, even any of the letter, trouble finding the right word, difficulty in rhyming, trouble learning the alphabets, numbers, difficulty following directions. Okay. Now comes early warning signs for kindergarten. Okay. Slow to learn the connection between letter and sound. Like if I've said the sound B, now this sound is connected with which letter? Okay. If there are three or four flashcards of letters kept in front of the child, okay, there is a letter, let's say A, there is a letter B, there is a letter C and D. Okay, and I'm just saying that okay, XYZ child, okay, pick up the letter which is having the sound. Okay, now the child might not be able to pick up. So this is the meaning of connection between the letter and the sound. Then comes confuses basic words such as run, eat, want. What do you want? What do you want to eat? Where do you want to go? Or some of the basic words, or you can say sentences. The child might get confused between them. Means consistent reading and spelling errors. Letter reversal. The child might say 6 to be the number 9 or 9 to be the number 6. Okay. The child might get confused between the letter B and that means B and D. Inversions in M or W. Transpositions felt might be written or read as left, or vice versa. Substitution might not be able to speak the word door, might be able to say the word gate. So the pronunciation issues might be also there, or you can say the recalling. The child might be not be able to pronounce those particular sounds. Slow recall of facts, slow to learn new skills, relies heavily on memorization, impulsivity, lack of planning, unstable pencil grip, trouble learning about time, poor coordination, unaware of physical surroundings. Now, I have displayed this table of this is actually a developmental milestones chart, okay, which is telling about the domains of language, fine and gross motor, self-help, social and emotional, cognitive. Okay. Now, if I talk about, like, for an example, let's take for 36 minutes. Okay, that is approximately 3 years. Now, for language, can repeat two numbers in a row. Okay, so this basically chart can help you to understand that if I'm talking about a child who is of 3 years, okay, uh, he should be able to repeat two numbers in a row, like 1, 2, 3, 4, all together in a row. But if the child is not able to do this, then we can say that yes, this is one of the sign of warning sign of learning difficulty. But again, let me also remind you that uh, considering only the one characteristic is not learning difficulty or disability. If you are observing more than six characteristics, okay, and those characteristics are consistent even after given proper instructions, you will see that those characteristics are consistent for 6 months. then we can say that yes, we can suspect learning difficulty in the child. Okay. Any one characteristic that you are observing, any one issue, one concern, and you can't label or you can't say that the child is having learning difficulty or learning disability. There has to be at least six characteristics or more than six. Okay. Or, and definitely those characteristics should be consistent, repetitive in nature for at least 6 months in a row. Okay. Similarly, if we talk about self-help skills, or let's say fine and gross motor skills, a, a 3-year-old child should be able to jump with both the feet off the ground, should be able to um, make a circle, should be able to run easily, should be able to, for let's say if we talk about cognitive, should be able to know most parts of the body, should be able to follow two-step command, should be able to make play, should be able to play make believe play with dolls and the animals with their toys. But if the child is not able to do this, and if you are seeing, if you are observing more than six delays in the developmental milestones of all of these domains, then definitely we can say that I'm suspecting a learning difficulty in the child. Okay, so I hope this developmental milestone chart will be very helpful for you all. I will share this and you can download it. Okay, early signs of learning disability in elementary school: have trouble learning the connection between letter and sounds, confuse basic words, making consistent reading and spelling errors, having trouble learning basic math concepts. Now, for second, third, and fourth, the teachers, the curriculum includes teaching the concept of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. You will observe the child is facing issues in all of these concepts. Trouble learning about the sequence, trouble remembering the facts, significant difficulties with reading, writing, and math, problem with spelling, grammar, punctuation, difficulty understanding what is read. If the child is reading any paragraph, the child might lose which line he was reading or which line he has to copy from the board and from which paragraph he need to read next. What the paragraph is talking about, who is the character in this particular paragraph. If there is any abstract information, if there is any moral value in that particular paragraph, the child might not be able to understand that what's the message, or in how indirect way something is being communicated in the paragraph, the child might face difficulty in understanding it. Okay. And yes, definitely, in these sessions, initially, I'm talking about the science characteristics of learning disability to spread more and more awareness about LD, specific learning disability. In my upcoming sessions, I will be also discussing about strategies, okay, that how you can help the child with learning disability in understanding a passage, in comprehending the abstract concepts given in the paragraphs. I will be definitely taking those sessions and talking about the intervention plans, about the strategies, about the IEP. Okay, so do subscribe to my channel and keep on following for more information. Now, let's move further. Difficulty understanding what is read. Challenges with organizing thoughts. Like if the teacher has taught some concept, and helping the child to, okay, now tell me, summarize whatever you have understood. So, summarize it on the paper, summarize it on while writing it on your sheet. The child might face difficulty in organizing his understanding, his thoughts on a paper. Problems with time management. This issue you will usually see during exams. The child might not be able to have track on time, that how much time is left. The child might be writing either very slow or very fast, or might not be having a track. Like I have to manage this 3 hour time and to complete my paper, might be getting too much involved in one answer, or might be writing very slow, might not be able to understand the question. So, losing the track on time is also one of the issues or concerns you will see. Then, difficulty in completing the task. As you can see, you also As an educator, you might be aware that there are regular classes in the school timetable. So the teacher comes, display the information in the smart board or write down on the whiteboard, and the child might face difficulty in copying it from the board, might lose the line, might lose the track, might be copying the wrong information, the spelling mistakes would be there, might not be able to copy the right spelling, then difficulty in comprehending while copying and then while writing it down. Okay, so all of these issues are there when we are talking about children with specific learning disability in elementary school. And different, some of the other early warning signs of learning disability you will see: speech delay, problems in discriminating sounds again, blending the sounds again, like if there are sounds like blur, clear sound words, okay, or any clear sound words, sure sound words, sh words, the child might be facing difficulty in discriminating the sounds, difficulty in rhyming words, difficulty in learning letters and sound, difficulty following directions, responding to the question. The child takes time to understand the question, to interpret its context, and then to respond. Till then definitely it's too late. Difficulty in recounting the stories, the events in the stories, might not be able to place the correct order of those stories. If you are providing any kind of flashcards or story cards, the child might not be able to arrange that in a sequence. Might lose the belongings, my difficulty in managing time, difficulty in learning the time, days of weeks, months. Like if you are talking about what's the time at the moment, okay? Like it's an afternoon or it's a morning time, it's an evening time, the child might not be able to communicate that. And this is quite common when we are talking about learning disability, learning difficulty in a child who is in preschool, okay? Difficulty in manipulating small objects like playing with blocks or having that if we are providing any kind of puzzle. So arranging the puzzle in a sequence or putting the blocks in the correct order. So the child might have difficulty in that. Difficulty with utensils, how to manage my dinner table, or when I'm eating, the things might be not being arranged in a proper order. While eating, the child might be not be able to, hold the spoon properly. So these early warning signs are usually when we are talking about children with in preschool, in kindergarten. Okay, difficulty in coloring within lines, within the boundary, might be taken out, might not be able to color in that proper boundary. Okay, behavioral indicators, some of the behavioral signs that you will observe: excessive daydreaming, impulsivity, low self-esteem, avoidance of tasks, especially the writing and reading because it requires lots of attention, social difficulties, acting without really thinking, acting out, difficulty staying focused, difficulty saying a word correctly out loud. If you will also encourage the child to speak this word loudly, the child might not be able to pronounce it correctly. Speaking like a younger child, using very small, short, and very soft sound, having a hard time listening to so many instructions at a time, problems dealing with the changes in a skit. Yes. So this is also the most common behavioral sign you will observe. Very important facts. These signs alone are not enough to determine that a person has a learning disability. Only a professional can diagnose a learning disability. Very important. If you're able to observe these signs, these characteristics, okay, we can't say that the child is having learning disability. Only a clinical psychologist is the right person to give the diagnosis or to tell that which kind of disability the person or the child is having. Okay, so alone these signs cannot help you to diagnose or to detect or to confirm the learning disability. Each learning disability has its own sign. It's true. Every child is different. Every child is having unique needs. Similar to if I'm talking about child with learning disability, they have their own characteristics, they have their own needs. It's not important that there are two individuals having learning disability, so they both will be similar. or they both will be having same kind of characteristics, same kind of interest, needs, strengths. No, they both are different. They both have their own sign, which are changing with time and age and different experiences. Okay, they have their own needs, they have their own interests. So understanding this is very important so that we can provide right kind of intervention, right kind of training strategies. We can use right kind of teaching plan with that individual or the child with AD. A person with a particular disability may not have all the signs of that disability. Very important. It is not necessary if I have told you some characteristics and signs just in the previous slides. All of these characteristics will be available or visible, will be observed. Some signs might not be observed. Some signs might not be, present in that particular child, in that individual. There might be some different signs, obviously. But yes, observing the basic areas, that is reading, writing, mathematics, and difficulty in these areas will be there in children with learning disability. The characteristics or the features of these difficulties might differ. Okay? Children being taught in a second language may show signs of learning problem or learning disability. Right. The learning disability assessment must take into account whether a student is bilingual or a second language learner. In addition, for English speaking children, the assessment should be sensitive to differences that may be due to dialect, a form of a language that is specific to a region or a group. Basically, if I'm talking about a learner who is having the mother tongue, the primary language, that is again according to his region, that he is having different regional language as compared to English. Okay, the second language is English. So, on the basis of that, and again, if the person is having a different second language and the person is studying English as a second language, on the basis of that, I can't say that the child is having specific learning disability. I need to take this into account that English is a second language. The child is taking time to learn the second language. So the proper intervention, proper teacher training, proper training sessions needs to be given to the child, and then reach to a conclusion that even after proper intervention, proper sessions, proper all the plans have been conducted with the child, then you are observing that even after all of these intervention plans, the child is facing issues, the concerns are consistent for longer duration, then only on the basis of this we can say that we are suspecting an SLD in the child. Okay. But again, if the person is coming from different region, different area, different country, and we are observing that the child is not able to pronounce, the child is not able to read properly, the child is not able to write properly, and then we are saying that the child is having learning disability. No, this is not at all the right practice. Okay, we have to respect the differences. We have to be really sensitive towards the differences the child is having and respect those differences and accordingly provide the intervention and not the labels or not the statement that the child is having learning disability. Okay, so yes, moving on to the next slide. When to seek professional help. If you notice persistent difficulties in multiple areas, and if those difficulties are persistent even after the intervention, even after the proper instructions, even after the sessions, even after till 6 months, those difficulties are consistent, they are persistent, then you can seek professional help. You can contact the special educator, RCA registered special educator for further suggestions for further advice. The child is significantly behind peers in academic skills. If we are talking about age appropriate skills, and if you feel like other than the peers of the same age, the child is not able to perform and is significantly behind than his peers of the same age in the academic areas, and those difficulties are consistent for longer duration, then you can seek professional help. If child exhibits signs of anxiety, depression related to school, if it is affecting child's functional daily living skills, if his academic difficulties has started affecting his daily functional skills, academic skills, functional areas, daily life, then yes, you can seek professional help if the characteristics are persistent for 6 months. Okay, next. Moving on to the next slide. Early identification is very important. It refers to a parent, educator, health professional, or other adults' ability to recognize developmental milestones in children and to understand the value of early intervention. Early identification is basically identifying the delayed milestones as early as possible so that we can provide early intervention to the child. The earliest years of a child's life are very critical. These years determine child's survival, thriving in life, and lay the foundation for his or her learning and holistic development. It is during the early years that children develop the cognitive, physical, social, and emotional skills. All of these developmental phases develop critically and are the developmental milestones during these years of these areas are very important that need to, and definitely the development in all of these areas, they will help the child to succeed in later life. The WHO World Health Organization states that early childhood is the most important phase for overall development. Factors like disability, malnutrition pose particularly difficult challenges. However, if these problems are solved or if these problems are identified at an early age, we can provide early intervention. If the parent or educator is seeking professional help, early intervention can be provided, and these characteristics, these signs can be reduced, can be minimized. It minimizes the developmental risk and definitely enhances the child development and performance. So that's it for today. We have discussed about the early signs, the importance of early identification and intervention. Okay, this I will share it with you. If you are having any doubts, definitely you can put it in the comment section. You can reach out to me. The link of the WhatsApp group is also mentioned in the description. So definitely you can give your suggestions for the videos on the topics you need. And if you need any extra help, any support, you can reach out to me. So that's it, everyone. This is Tanya Batra, Learning Support Educator. Do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you so much. Have a good day and happy Independence Day once again.